Meeting to order. Before we get started, I'm going to stand for the nation's flag. Supervisor Adizio and I had the opportunity to meet with Cub Scout Group 1369 a month or so ago and talk to them about local government. They are here this evening to observe something, so we're going to actually ask them to come forward. They're going to come to the front and they're going to start the pledge for us this evening. So if you'll please rise for a salute of the nation's flag. Guys, come on up. You can stand right up here. You can get us started. Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, guys. Everybody give a round of applause. They are awesome little local government students, so those might be your future supervisors. Okay, roll call. Supervisors Fisher, Adizio, Cassiola, Savavic, Ron Fleer. In addition, Township Manager Don Januso, Chief of Police Sean Bukovinsky, Planning Director and Assistant Township Manager Jack King, Director of Public Works Bill Wador, Township Engineer Dan Dizeroth of the Gateway Engineers, and Attorney Jordan Strausberger in for Township Solicitor Gretchen Moore. Citizens' comments. Comments will be taken at this time for any item to be voted on by the board that appears on the agenda. General Township comments or questions will be addressed after the Board of Supervisors discussion of all business. Please step to the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
Hello, Kara Sheridan, 58 North DePauli Road. My question is in regard to Resolution 073-2020. I asked about this one last month also. It's considered a holding tank agreement for Ranger Resources Augustine Well Site at 102 North DePauli Road. The questions I asked last time were about what this holding tank was going to be used for. Do we have information on that at this time?
So per Cecil Township ordinance, I know it was thrown around that they would be for bunk housing. Bunk housing is not permitted per Cecil Township oil and gas ordinance. So it is my understanding that they will be used for the supervisors' trailers, almost like office trailers, for sewage to have a bathroom in the trailers.
Okay, and that's what Range told us it's for?
Yeah.
Okay. That's it then.
Any other citizens' comments? I won't read the announcements to you with the exception. I'd like to call out one. Cecil Township will again be hosting an electronics recycling program on Saturday, March 21st, 2020 from 9 a.m. to noon at the Cecil Township Municipal Building. There will be a 2-item limit on televisions per household. There is no charge for items unless a television screen is broken. A $50 fee will be charged. This event is for Cecil Township residents only. With any questions, please call the Municipal Building at 724-745-2227. Special thanks to Supervisor Adizio, who sets this up every year, donates his time not only at the events, but also then driving the trucks and unloading them at the recycling place. So thank you, Supervisor Adizio. Also, the Cecil Township will be accepting applications for summer park help. Applications and information is available on the Township's website at ceciltownship-pa.gov. 051-2020, consider the full release of financial security posted for the installation of private improvements for MCC International Building Addition. A release of $52,624 is recommended by the Township Engineer.
Madam Chair, this is the MCC site plan. I just wanted to throw it up here because it's been a while since this has been before the board. This is located up behind the Township building. They did a little addition here to the building, concrete slab in front and just some parking spaces. They had to do some stormwater management. We've done an inspection. All the work is completed. It's our recommendation to issue the release.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. 052-2020, consider setting a date for a public hearing regarding conditional use application 2020-004 for CAPS Development LLC, location 414 Morganza Road, I-1 Light Industrial Zoning District. Applicant CAPS Development LLC. The application received Planning Commission approval on February 20th, 2020.
This, just for the board's information before you set the hearing, I know the developer's consultants here, but this is the CAPS Development LLC, which has been here for a long time. They have purchased a barn, and they want to install a barn as an additional amenity to the development. Outside of the building, the barn would go right here. This is a conditional use because they're adding on to the site. It's necessary to open up the conditional use again and run through the process. So you'd be setting the hearing for that, and then you'll be here to present that next month.
Any questions by the board? Do I have a motion? Or, I guess we have to set a date, sorry about that. Hold on here. Do we want to stick to Mondays?
Preferred,
I'm sorry?
preferred Monday.
Okay. What about Monday, March 23rd? Does that work? 7 p.m.?
Works for me.
Okay, we'll set the hearing for Monday, March 24th at 7 p.m. Actually, let me ask this question before we do that. Is it something that you think could be done like an hour before?
Half an hour or less.
Okay, so why don't we redo that? Why don't we set it for our board meeting is Monday, April 6th? So why don't we set it Monday, April 6th at 6 p.m.? Does that work for everybody?
Madam Chair, the 60-day time on that application is actually March 17th. However, we've got an extension. The applicant gave us an extension until the end of the month in which to schedule that meeting. I knew that possibly trying to get it in before the 17th was difficult. However, they have granted us an extension.
Do you think they'd extend it considering? Yeah.
I don't know if the applicant is.
Are they here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, hi, Greg Benner with Key Environmental, representing CAPS Development. Yeah, we've agreed to extend it to the end of the month. We wouldn't have a problem to extend it to April 6th and hold before
Okay,
the
perfect.
regular scheduled meeting. That would be much more convenient.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Okay, so,
I was going to bring up under new business the ability to have a presentation by the Washington Board of Elections. They have the new machines, and if anyone wanted to come and look at the new voting machines and the scanners. But the thought was maybe to do that before the next month's meeting. So if in fact that hearing would run long, you could cut into this time.
well, we could set the machines up in the lobby.
Well, there would be Melanie would do an actual presentation.
Well, he's saying half an hour tops. So if
Right.
we set the meeting at 6, we can do the opening from
6 and then
6:30 to
6:30 to 7
That's
would be
fine.
the meeting. All right,
Okay,
training.
yeah, that's fine. So 6 p.m. Monday, April 6th. Do I have a motion? You said Tom, so moved.
It's just set for 6, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Do I have a
set.
second? We still have to go through it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. 053-2020, consider the 2019 Cecil Township Planning Report. The report received Planning Commission approval on February 20th, 2020. Do I have a motion? Oh, Dan, do you want to say something about this?
Just that the Planning Commission made the recommendation. This is the annual report that's prepared. Liz did a nice job. She prepared the report. It goes into DCED each year and reports on the planning activities in the township.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. 054-2020, consider the second release of financial security posted for the installation of public improvements for Windsor Woods Phase 6B from $875,975.25 to $356,585.50, a total reduction of $519,389.75 as recommended by the township engineer.
And this is the last phase of the Windsor Woods development. I've just put on the screen here. That includes this portion of the road and another portion of the road with one cul-de-sac here. The work is been inspected, and it's our recommendation at this time to make the release.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Oh.
Go ahead.
Dan, don't you think they need to do some hydro seeding up there?
Yeah, they will. Yeah, there's still 300,000 left
Okay.
in their release or more. I would assume it's right around time to do it.
Dan, can you hold the microphone?
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure it's getting picked up in the recording. Thank you.
This one works. Yeah, so they, I'll mention that to them, but I think, I talked to Stu and they have that scheduled as soon as they can get their hydro seeder in there.
Okay.
So we have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
it. All right.
Passes 5-0. 055-2020, consider the first release of financial security posted for the installation of private improvements for the Kasevich property Phase 2 land development from $238,303 to $169,853, a total reduction of $68,450 as recommended by the township engineer.
And this is the development along with the old Cecil Elementary School. This is the existing elementary school building. This is the new building they just put up. The request for the release is for the work that they've done here. They've installed the stormwater system, all the stormwater piping associated with that. The building is up. They'll be working on the parking and paving here, I would assume, as the weather permits in the spring. So we've done an inspection and we make a recommendation. We recommend that the release be made. And this is all private improvements.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye. Passes 5-0. 056-2020, consider adopting the resolution for plan revision for land development for the South Point Fieldhouse project and transmit the planning module to the PADEP for approval. The Cecil Township Municipal Authority has approved the planning module.
Yeah, just for everybody's reference again, this is the South Point Fieldhouse, and what they're proposing to do. They have the approval to put in the sanitary sewer line and bring it through the park, which the township agreed to an easement some time ago. They'll be connecting into a manhole that's near the property line of the apartment development. This is the action necessary by the township to approve this change in your official sewage facilities plan to allow this property to drain into the system. It's been approved by the municipal authority. This one's been a long time to get to this point. I'd make a recommendation that you act upon it as per the agenda item.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. 057-2020, consider award of the 2020 pavement maintenance program contract A to Youngblood Paving Inc. in the amount of $387,413.75. This is the annual PennDOT liquid fuel funded paving project. Work will be completed on portions of Klinger, County Line, and Wilson Avenue. Have a motion? Or Dan, you wanna?
Sure. Yeah, this is, as you said in the motion, this is our annual liquid fuels program. This will take care of Clear Road from Fawn Lane to 27 Clear Road, County Line Road from Morgan Road to County Line, 214 County Line Road, and Wilson Avenue from East Bishop to Bishop Lake. We recommend awarding it to Youngblood Paving in the amount of $387,413.75.
I'll just emphasize that there were a total of 8 bids that were received. They ranged in price from about $451,000 down to a price of $387,000 is the low bid. This is the advantage of getting the road program out early, so you get good prices and get on the schedule. So good results from the bids.
Awesome. Do I have a motion?
Quick question for Dan and Joe. Did we use that, that CMU company that we hired to drive over all the roads and evaluate the roads and give us
Robotics, Joe.
Yeah.
what's the name?
Robotics.
Robotics.
We didn't use that for this evaluation this year. Bill and I got together and selected the roads to be included in this year's program.
I would find it probably wise if the board would agree that we should be using that. And let's make the changes that we're gonna be doing these roads, but it should be a template that we're using. Would you agree?
That subscription is currently up right now, so I think the board has to make a decision whether they want to move forward with another year of that subscription to that service.
Did you think it was worthwhile? Which is why you didn't use it in this election.
Did we at least get a printout of all the roads that they were prioritized on when they should be done?
We have not for last year, no.
They don't, all they do, Eric, it was a very inexpensive way to actually document the conditions of your road at a point in time. So they went out and took photos of the roads, and they did a very rudimentary numbering system of the roads from 1 to 5. And they don't prioritize budgets or anything else like that. They just give you it's a tool. We can still use that as a tool, we can cross-check it versus that, but a guy like Bill who knows the roads, is there every day, gets the complaints. It's still, I still think that's a good way to evaluate it. But, if you wanted to continue with the subscription, all it does is really gives you more information, that's all it does.
Well, if it gave a scoring system on all the roads, the idea is that we should have all the roads put under a system and know that, hey, we just did this road, it's gonna be done again in 15, 20 years down the road. It just makes certain that we have all the roads identified, and by all means, we could move those that get worse, we could move them up on the list or shift those back. But
We have that data from our annual maintenance program and also for our in-house program. We have all that information, when it was done, and what was done to the road. As far as the condition of the road, that's something that program can't do, is evaluate the condition and give a fair assessment of, or predict how close that road is to failure. These 3 roads on this particular contract right here, I would venture a guess that probably within the next 6 months or so, we'll have a wave of complaints coming in. Of course, County Line Road, we know the condition of that road. And Klinger Road is a major access into South Point. It's the remaining section of Klinger Road that hasn't been touched yet. We worked very diligently last year to upgrade and improve the drainage over there. My foreman, Mark, had a crew out there for a couple of months last year, putting all the drainage on that road. And that's one of the things that program does not evaluate, is that type of work there. The need for drainage and embankment stabilization. So, I mean, I personally don't think it's worth the money to pay for it. I really don't, especially when we have the empirical data available for us to tell us exactly when the road was done, when and what was done to that road.
do you know what the cost is for the renewal?
I believe it's $6,500.
I agree with Bill. The field conditions of your road is going to prioritize and tell you what needs fixed. And I have full confidence in those 2 gentlemen sitting there, Bill and Joe, with over 80 years of paving experience, that they do a terrific job.
I'm not questioning that. I just think that all roads need to be addressed and have it listed in one place. So maybe I just visit with you and just see that you were talking about.
We continue to shift roads around, knock them off the past couple of years. They're on that priority list and just don't have all those monies. So I think Bill does a great job in evaluating what needs done.
Am I wrong, Bill? I think the issue is you don't pave a road and then it lasts no matter what for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years. you have to be able to look at a road, because it may need work 5 years from now, or it may need work 12 years from now. So it's hard to set a specific time frame for a road after it's been paved, that it's definitely gonna last.
Well, I
a
understand
certain
that.
time.
It used to be 20 years you could get out of a road, but now it's not even blacktop, it's gray. So we might only get 15, 12, 15. If we were getting 5 years, I'd want to know that statistic too, though. If we're only getting 5 years out of spending $272,000 or $300,000 on a road, we need to know that.
I mean, I think that's a conversation you can easily have offline with Bill.
I will, thank you.
Thank you. So did we vote on 057-2020? Let's check.
Motion second.
There's a motion, a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Passes 5-0. 058-2020, consider award of the 2020 pavement maintenance program contract fee to Youngblood Paving in the amount of $172,705.75. This is the annual township capital budget funded paving project. Work will be completed on a portion of Clifford Road and Lenape Lane.
As the motion says, it's for Clifford Road and Lenape Lane. We're doing some drainage improvements along Lenape Lane where it intersects with Swihart, and we want to get those done to alleviate the water problem. So make the recommendation that the project be awarded to Youngblood Paving in the amount of $172,705.75.
All those in, or may I have a motion?
So second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. 059-2020, consider award of the 2020 pavement maintenance program contract C to Russell Standard Corporation in the amount of $73,594. This is the fiber reinforced seal coat project that will be for Technology Drive from South Point Drive to Hill Point Drive and Virginia Lane from Anger to the cul-de-sac.
As the motion states, that pretty much summarizes the scope of work for the two roads that we're completing. We've used this process in the past with great success and continue to recommend that we use it. So we recommend the award to Russell Standard in the amount of $73,594.08.
And this is the philosophy of extending the life of good roads that you have. So if you spend money on treatments like this, you're going to get much further life out of the road. So it's a great process. It's good to stay ahead of things.
So I'll just comment on fiber reinforced seal coat. This is a high performance product. It acts as a crack suppressant. We've used it with great success up in South Point on our high ABT roads, and this will be the 4th or 5th year that we've used this process. Technology Drive from Hill Point down to South Point is now ready to accept that type of surface. The substrate is good. We've done extensive crack sealing over the years. We'll make one more run through there this year with our Crapco sealant, and then in addition to that, over the past summer and the summer before that, we've replaced all of the Type C concrete inlet frames and rebuilt the inlet boxes out there. So that road is now ready for a preservation seal coat to extend the life of that pavement.
Thank you. Do I have a motion? Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. 060-2020, consider award of the 2020 pavement maintenance program contract D to Youngblood Paving in the amount of $119,526. This is a single seal coat contract for Swihart and Kelso roads.
Again, the motion pretty much summarizes the scope of work, and this is again maintenance work to extend the life of the roads. And we recommend that the project be awarded to Youngblood Paving in the amount of $119,526.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
No.
Passes 4-1. 061-2020, consider award of the 2020 pavement maintenance program contract E to parking lot painting in the amount of $68,796.25. This is line striping and paving markings contract for various roads in the township in the South Point Development, O'Hare Road, and Maloney Road.
Yeah, this is for the line striping in South Point, including South Point Boulevard, Console Drive, Town Center Boulevard, Town Center Way, Corporate Drive, and also a hair road from Route 980 to East Bishop, and Mulway Road from Millers Run Road to McConnell Road. We recommend that the project be awarded to parking lot painting in the amount of $68,796.25.
Go ahead.
Can we eliminate O'Hare and Maloney? The roads aren't wide enough. You're gonna end up with 8-foot lanes.
That they used to do O'Hara for us on that share program for years, and then just dropped that program.
I think I brought up maybe 2 months ago that I had a lot of residential complaints from up in Mayfair Meadows and people that travel at night from Canonsburg through that area, and there's not sufficient lighting, and they're looking for some type of a guideline. If lights are in your eyes from a car coming the opposite way, there just needs something to help guide them with the topography of that road up and down around Men's. But I feel it's needed.
Can't we get some more lights put up?
Can't we let them, sir?
Put more street lights up.
I feel that would be a lot more
It's cheaper
expensive.
to line strip.
Huh?
It's cheaper to line strip.
What line's that?
I said it's cheaper to line
Oh, yeah,
strip.
yeah, that's what I said. I thought you said it's cheaper than line
The
straight.
paint has reflective beams and glass beads in it, so I mean, it's,
But the lights should be there forever.
yeah.
So,
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
No.
Opposed? Here. Passes 4-1. 062-2020, consider the resignation of Jim Machaca from the Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. 2020, consider the appointment of, who do we want to appoint?
Jan Moniger.
I'm sorry?
Jan Moniger.
To the Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board to serve the remaining term of Jim Machaca. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. 064-2020, consider the resignation of Suzanne Campbell from the Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. 065-2020, consider the appointment of
Wendy Johnson.
Wendy Johnson to the Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board to serve the remaining term of Suzanne Campbell.
A second.
Oh, motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. 066-2020, consider the resignation of Glenn Reidenbaugh from the Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board. Do I have a
Make a
motion?
motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. 067-2020, consider the appointment of
Barb Russman.
Barb Russman to the Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board to serve the remaining term of Glenn Reidenbaugh. Do I have a motion and a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. 068-2020, consider the resignation of Arlene Curry from the Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board.
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
no,
Passes 4-1. 069-2020, consider the appointment of
Mary Ann Schwalla.
Marion Schwalla to the Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board to serve the remaining term of Arlene Curry.
A second.
Was there a motion? Frank, you make a motion.
Make that motion.
We're on second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
5-0. 070-2020, consider the resignation of Diane Strumpel from the Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board.
I make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Consider the appointment of,
Arden Staff.
do I have a second?
I'll second that.
To the Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Board to serve the remaining term of Diane Strumpel. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 5-0. 072-2020, consider the resignation of John Strumpel from the Cecil Township Parks and Recreation Auxiliary Board.
Make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. 073-2020, consider the holding tank agreement for the Range Resources Augustine well site at 102 North DePauli Road, McDonald, PA 15057. I would actually like to amend this. I would like to note in this motion that Cecil Township ordinance prevents bunkhouses from being placed on any well pad site. That's per township ordinance, so I just want to clarify that in the motion. And I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in,
We have discussion?
sure.
I'm sorry, why do you want to add that?
I just want to clarify it. We've been asked a lot about it. So just as a point of clarification, so that it's in the minutes, residents don't have to hunt through our ordinances to see that. It's just clarified.
Well,
Legitimate motions aren't supposed to have clarifications.
yeah.
They're not clarification items, this is a business item.
Did Gretchen review that, or did she have that finding? I mean, I don't want to just go along with what you say to add to this. Let's just do it the way it was on the agenda last month. Did Gretchen give you a findings on that, or did the attorney fill it in?
It does state that in our ordinances. I read it over the weekend.
All right.
So I want to clarify, as part of this motion, there's a holding tank agreement for Range Resources. We've been round and round about it. There's been a lot of questions about whether or not it's to be used for bunk housing. Bunk housing is specifically not allowed per our township ordinance, and I can, if we want to come back to this, I can clarify, or I can show that to you. I just want to clarify it in here, or make it clear that it's for supervisory personnel and office trailers only.
That's fine to do verbally.
That's what I'm saying.
It's fine to do verbally, what?
She said, she's taking it out of the motion.
So it's out of the motion now?
Just in the minutes. We're good with that?
We're good with that.
Thank you. Okay, and I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. 074-2020, consider hiring of James Pashu as a summer park work at an hourly rate of $12 per hour.
So made motion.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That passes 5-0. Welcome back, Jim. 075-2020, consider authorizing the township manager to advertise for the positions of public works mechanic. Don or Bill, do you want to explain why we're advertising for them? Or do we want to?
Yes, this position is going to replace, it's not going to replace, we're looking for someone to work as a mechanic in our garage. It is the desire of one of our current mechanics to move into a driver's position. He's not comfortable working in the garage and has asked if he could move back to a driver's position. And I've granted his request based on the considerations that he put forth to me. A lot of it has to do with the ventilation and stuff like that in the garage. And he's a young guy, and I understand his concerns. So with that, I said, not a problem. I don't want to lose him. He's a very highly skilled craftsman. He's done a lot of improvements to our township building here. And for that reason, we're going to have to replace our mechanic here. So the current mechanic will move to a driver's position, and this will create that vacancy there. So, and I also believe that in my budget request for this year, I requested a laborer be added to my staff down there, and the driver's position that our mechanic's going to move to is one step above that laborer's position. So, and his position is currently on the books. So, thank you.
Thank you. I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. 076-2020, consider the purchase of a 2021 Freightliner Johnson vacuum sweeper truck from FIDA Freightliner and U.S. Municipal Supply at a quoted price of $295,933.28. This is a CoStar's purchase. I'd also just like to point out this is also a pre-budgeted item.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Make a motion.
That wasn't a question. That is a budgeted item.
The funds will be coming from the road machinery tax,
Correct.
dedicated tax, yes.
Right, and it was already budgeted for. Yeah.
Don, it's coming from where?
Road machinery tax.
I make a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. 077-2020, consider the purchase of a 2021 John Deere 6120M tractor with a Bengal rotary mower from Midtown Tractor Sales and Stevenson Equipment at a quoted cost of $151,502.25. This is a CoStar's purchase and also another already budgeted for item.
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. 078-2020, consider the purchase of a 2021 Western Star tandem axle dump truck with snowplow and spreader box from Freightliner and U.S. Municipal Supply at a quoted cost of $191,337. This is a CoStar purchase as well as also a budgeted item. What did I say? Sorry, $197,337.
I make a motion.
Do I have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. 079-2020, consider awarding the replacement of the flooring in the Generations bathroom to Russmore Floors at a cost of $3,348.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
080-2020, consider the minutes from the Monday, February 3rd, 2020 Cecil Township Board of Supervisors regular monthly meeting.
I make a motion.
I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes. 1-2020, consider the general fund invoices from February 1st through February 29th, 2020.
So moved.
I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Passes 5-0. Before we move on to administrative reports, I just want to make a public announcement. This board had a brief executive session at 6:30 this evening prior to this meeting to discuss the FCO position. Moving on to administrative reports, Public Works.
Yeah, I just have very briefly, I'd like to make this announcement that the Public Works Department for the past 2 weeks has been busy cleaning up Cecil Township. To date, we've collected 75 bags, 55-gallon bags of litter from our roads. We still have half dozen roads or so to address, but our guys are really doing a really good job of getting that litter off the roads. Down the road, I think we probably should consider an anti-litter campaign in the township. Thank you.
Thank you. Engineers report, Dan?
Yeah, just a couple items to highlight. Number one, we've been proceeding to get the DePauli road improvements ready for construction. That included doing the survey work for some easements out there. Joe and Bill met with some residents related to driveways. We're in a position now that we can actually get the easements for the drainage improvements, and I believe that the utility pole is lined up to be moved whenever it needs to be moved. And so we're pushing forward. We also requested the money from the developer of Windsor Woods, who had contributed to the project to cover some of the costs to getting things ready. Moving on to McConnell Trails. There's been a number of issues in the McConnell Trails development. There's been some issues with technical issues related to a landslide out there that's occurred. There's been issues with exposure to the road. We've written letters to the developer, so we're going to have a meeting with them this week to discuss various issues. Wednesday, myself and staff, and I believe the invitation is out to any supervisor who wants to attend. And then finally, the township bridges. This is a follow-up. We're able to get the 3 prices in on the bridge. They're going to start working on the Creedmoor Street Bridge later this week. The final price on that came in at $15,000. The contractor, the low bid quote initially had not included the painting that was in the specifications. So when I went back to them, I made sure that they knew the full scope of the work, and that was the price. That's it?
Yeah.
What's that?
Can you talk into your microphone?
I'm sorry.
Tom?
Yes.
No, not you, Tom.
Oh.
You're good. Tom, can you ask that in the microphone?
I just asked when the meeting is.
It's on Wednesday at 1:30, I believe. 1 o'clock, yeah.
I also asked for Bill and Renata to attend that meeting.
Good, more the merrier.
Dan, is there still a moratorium on issuing building permits for up there?
No, frankly, they don't have, they're not building anything in phase 2. That little landslide is in phase 2. Phase 1, there's no issues. There's issues in phase 1, but they're not the landslide. So they presented us with a plan to repair the landslide. We want to go over that and some other things that we've talked to them about. So.
Thanks.
Okay, solicitors report. We continue to work on the employee handbook project. We've conducted title searches on the Falcone properties to correct those deeds. We've reviewed various ordinances at the board's request and have drafted legal opinions, memorandums. We filed a brief in the Casciola versus Cecil matter pending in court. That's a Sunshine Act case. We're working with developers. We're addressing the day-to-day needs of the township with the manager and the engineer. And there's good news out of the Court of Common Pleas. The board was challenged with respect to 3 land use appeals and conditional uses. They were denied, and that was affirmed by the trial court.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Jordan. Now on the Board of Supervisors discussion of new business. Anyone have anything they want to bring up?
Yeah, I would just further reiterate that meeting April 6th from 6:30 to 7 with Melanie and the Board of Elections, and new voting machines that will be in Washington County and a new scanning machine. So you just
Did
good
we already
opportunity.
reach out to Melanie to ask her to come, or we need to do that?
I wanted to verify through the board first, but she has it written in pencil.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with
Okay. That's all I have for new.
that. Moving on to old business.
You have something, Dawn, have we had any correspondence from the OMA company that wants to expand in South Point, OMA or OMA?
Yeah. Yes, actually, I had a meeting last Monday with the CEO. We've defined the areas, the limits, and we're going to start moving on what we have to do next. So I met with him Monday last week.
There's something else under old business. The comprehensive plan, we just have to work to get that meeting set up to review the map. Can we set a date tonight, or could we send an email this week?
Do we want to do it that Monday that we were talking about initially, Monday, March 24th, or 23rd, sorry,
23rd? I'd be okay with that.
everybody else. Okay, so Monday, 7 o'clock. Okay, Monday, March 23rd at 7 o'clock, we'll have a meeting to continue discussions about the comprehensive.
Let's get it on, with the plan to get it on the agenda for next month. We'll just
That
finally
would be
approve
the
that.
ultimate goal.
All right.
Monday, March 23rd at 7 p.m. Jack is not here. John, will you make sure Jack lets the comprehensive plan committee know?
Yes.
As well as the planning consultant.
Any other item on old business? Just we went over that real quickly with all those resignations, but I just want to take a moment to thank, Jim Michalka, Suzanne Campbell, Glenn Reidenbach, Arlene Curry, Diane Stronkel, John Stronkel, and Mark Bones. I think we all owe them a round of applause for just their many years of service. And thank you. That's all.
Anything else? Okay. Now we'll open it up for citizens' general comments and questions.
Yes, Kevin Camerson, 15 Swire Road. I guess I should have brought this up in regards to resolution 58, 2020. Got a question on Lenape Lane. I know you talked about correcting the water at the intersection of Swihart. Has there been any discussion with the private individual about fixing the landslide that's creating water coming on the road also?
We met with them. They haven't taken any action yet.
So you're not able to put any type of a French drain or nothing along the edge?
We have a under drain, pavement base drain
Okay.
along the base of that right there, so, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
It runs from the cul-de-sac all the way down to the yellow.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Michelle Stenmark, 40 North Apollo. I am here tonight to talk about the next steps in updating our ordinances from the meeting we had last week. Do we have any more forward movement on that? I have a couple comments I'd like to make about it too.
At this point, I would say we have nothing publicly to announce. We are still moving forward, but nothing.
Okay, I'd like to add a few things to my comments from the other night. Unless my calculations are incorrect, which is basically just me rewatching the video and counting, there were 32 people, not counting those who spoke twice, 32 people who spoke at the meeting, and 22 of them spoke out in support of updating the oil and gas ordinance. 22 out of 32 of those people spoke out in support of updating the oil and gas ordinance. Now, I don't need to tell you that it's your job to listen to the majority of your constituents. And I don't need to tell you guys that it's your job that you protect the health, safety, and welfare of your constituents, because you already know that part. So I'm just going to remind you of a few things that were said that night. Something that wasn't said that night that really bothered me was from the 10 people who didn't support updating the ordinance was compromise. You know, a lot of things have been said about, you know, friendships and loyalties and political favors, and this isn't about any of that. This isn't about your friendships. This isn't about your political friends. You know, I'm obviously friends with Cindy. Everybody in this room knows that. This isn't any kind of political favor to anybody. Because if I was coming up here asking for political favor, I would say, set the ordinance at 3,000 feet. Set the ordinance only in industrial areas. Those things are what I feel deep in my soul that where they should be. But I'm also a realist, and I also have the ability to compromise and the ability to negotiate and make things work for everybody. So I come in here and say, then let's do the setback. Instead of, 3,000 feet, let's do it at 1,500 feet or 1,700 feet, like some of our neighboring communities. Let's set the insurance updates to 25 million, like Indiana Township did, just to help better protect the township and its residents from other things. Let's, I understand it has to stay in the R1 area, and everybody always talks about how, she's only doing that because of what's happening behind her house. This isn't going to change anything for me. I'm well aware of that. I don't want anybody else to go through what I'm going through right now. I don't want anyone else to see a 30-foot wall go up right in their backyard. So now I don't see anything except a nice giant black wall. So I don't want anybody else to have to deal with the things that I'm having to deal with right now. That's why I'm not asking for a favor. I'm asking you to be reasonable and to negotiate and to compromise with everybody in the situation. There were a number of things that I talked to every one of you about individually. One of them was, I talked extensively about Ron, about a place that he cleaned up. I think it was the John Day site that you cleaned up, about what a mess it was, and how Range eventually threw up its hands and just threw in the towel and abandoned the project. And for me, that's unacceptable. We can't have an industry coming in here, messing something up, anything up, and just abandoning the project and leaving it, well, too late. It is what it is. We need to set things in place so that doesn't happen. One of the other things that bothers me is there's zero accountability. For example, we have a gate up at the Augustine pad, and it clearly states in the conditions that you guys approved, it clearly states it has to be locked at all times, or unless there's a guard on duty. And all weekend long, that gate was open. All weekend long. And now there were guys working up there. They were way far in the back of the property, probably a good half a mile from that gate. So there was no guard, there was no locked gate, and yet there's zero accountability. And I called and complained, I couldn't tell you how many times That gate was, and I get it. You know, if somebody's on site, they don't want to have to unlock and lock and unlock and lock. But if they're not running trucks constantly, there's no reason for them to not stop, lock the gate, get out, get back in their car and drive away. Stop again, unlock the gate, get in their car and drive away. It's ridiculous that we don't hold them accountable for anything, including the conditions that we ourselves put into place.
I'll clarify something.
I didn't make any of them regulations. I wasn't on board then.
Okay,
Regulations that were in the past, you mean?
Yeah.
okay, well,
There was
Cindy
a-
didn't vote for it either, she wasn't here that night, so.
You mean regulations as far as the oil and gas ordinance or regulations specific to Augustine?
Augustine passed.
Okay, sorry, just asking.
And the other thing that bothers me too, or it does specifically say in the ordinance, and I can pull it up if you really need me to, it does specifically say in our ordinance they can have bunkhouses. And instead, they call them supervisory sleeping quarters. So I'm asking you, if Range is bringing all these jobs to our surrounding communities, into Cecil Township, and they're bringing all these jobs in, why does anybody need to sleep on site? Seriously, why does anybody need to sleep there? There are doctors who work 12, 16-hour shifts in hospitals, they go home at the end of their shifts. Our policemen work 12, 16-hour shifts, they go home after their shift, go to sleep, come back the next day. As long as somebody's always working, I get that. I get there has to be people there, I get they need a break room, but why do people need sleeping quarters anywhere? And why, and how many people are up there are supervisors? Do we have a list?
I actually think that's a point of clarification that probably we should get with Gretchen and Jordan to figure out, because I've read the ordinance a bunch of times, and to me, if you're in a supervisory role, there's no real reason for you to be sleeping, so I do think that we need to clarify that they aren't sleeping, because it does say in the ordinance, but we can ask for that, if the board's okay with that, just ask for clarification on that for in our ordinance.
I think it would be better to have some expertise personnel on hand in case something, God forbid, did happen. At least we have experience.
But how
The
many
right
of them have
people
to be
that-
there?
Well, I think they stated in the ordinance, maybe 4 to 6.
I
I
think
could
it's
be off a
six.
little bit.
I think
6
it's
people. But I would feel a lot more safer having people who are skilled at doing their job in case something did happen.
I would agree.
I would agree too. You mean in case something happens, then they would just wake up? That's what you're suggesting? Sort of like a fireman sleeping in a firehouse, wakes up and goes on his...
No, there would, I'm sure a lot of key decisions would have to be made at times, you know, and that's what they're paid for.
So they need to sleep in it?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like them there for the emergency as well. I mean, it makes sense.
But shouldn't there be, I guess that's where I'm having a little bit of trouble, because if you're sleeping, you're not working, and if you're, I would imagine there's a supervisor there anyways, a supervisor or more than one supervisor there, I'm not really sure how that works as far as job titles. But do you really need people there that are supervising while working, but also then supervising while sleeping? I don't know, I'm not sure.
I just think it needs to be clarified.
Yeah.
And going forward, it needs to be updated in the ordinance and clarified in the ordinance. All I hear about, the constant thing I hear from people when I talk about this, to anybody, to any of you, to any residents, constantly all I hear about is, if we change it, we're gonna get sued by Range. Range is gonna sue us, we're gonna get sued, we're gonna get sued. And my answer to that is, so what? If you, as a board, you have a right, it's been repeatedly said by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, that you have a right to set ordinances in place that these industries are allowed to follow. Right now, this well pad is 500 feet from my house. You can't put a cell tower there. You can't put a cell tower 500 feet from my house, but you can put an industrial use well pad 500 feet from my house. The fact that that's the case is preposterous to me. That anybody who thinks this ordinance is not out of date, I mean, you're living in a dreamland where it needs to be updated. Everybody, all the communities around us have updated theirs. All the communities have done their research. All we need to do is look at what they've done. They haven't been sued, and if they have been sued, you know, it's all been sorted out in court by now, so we can learn from their mistakes. There is plenty we can learn from. We don't need to worry so much about being sued. And besides that, that's what you pay your solicitor for. He or she is not gonna let you get sued, and if you do, he or she is gonna back up whatever it is you guys decided on. They're not gonna let you write an ordinance that breaks all kinds of laws. It's gonna get, then Range is gonna sue you, and you're gonna get thrown out in court. I'm asking you to defend your residents and not defend Range. Because Range doesn't live here. They're here to make money. And again, I know that I'm this, crazy, I'm a crazy drill girl. But I'm not. I'm a reasonable human being asking for a reasonable, constructive response to updating this ordinance. And I'm asking you all to ask yourselves what you would want by your grandchildren. Would you want this 500 feet from your grandchildren? Would you want this 750 feet from your grandchildren? Or would you be more comfortable with 1,500 feet or 1,700 feet away? That's what I want you guys to all ask yourselves, and I highly want you, so bad, to update this ordinance. Thanks.
I'll address the question. Michelle, we do understand our job. We're here for the health, safety, and welfare of the residents.
Right.
Did you not state that you're not against the industry, but that you don't want it in your backyard? Yes or no?
I don't want it in anyone's backyard.
Yes, right, that's what you said. So,
Right.
but our job is to look at the whole 29 square miles of the township and see to it that we
It
have
can't
an
go
ordinance in
somewhere.
place. Okay, that's all I had. I just wanted to hear you say yes.
Right. No. Okay, let me be very clear. I don't want it in my backyard. I don't want it in my backyard. I also don't want it in your backyard, or your backyard, or your backyard, or your backyard, or your backyard. I don't want it in any of their backyards.
Very well.
Any of your
I
backyards.
just
I don't want
yes
it in
or
your
no.
backyard, Sheriff, Mr.
So
Supervisor.
what we do is for the whole township.
I understand
I
that.
also wanted to point out that, so I could forward this to Dawn, but this was the article that was in the newspaper, and it stated that Cindy Fisher, as things change through the years, different state laws are passed or whatever, and we need to go back and amend those ordinances so that they match state law. She added, protecting the township legally is a major reason to make sure the ordinances comply with the state law. It opens us up for litigation and significant attorney fees of our ordinance if it is invalid. It causes a lot of problems. I took that information when I saw it in the newspaper, and I didn't know that this meeting was being set up, and I asked our attorney, Gretchen, she's not here tonight, but she did make the statement, and I'll forward this to you as well, Dawn, just so you can have it as a backup, to see that she said, is your ordinance valid, is your question. She stated, I don't see anything that indicates it is invalid. So I just wanted to point that out, that
Well, you didn't read thanks for quoting me, first of all, and second of all, you didn't read her whole response.
this is what I said. She stated, I don't see anything that indicates it is invalid.
That's not her whole response. Third of all, I actually had a conversation with her, because first of all, that quote was referencing all our ordinances, not just specific to oil and gas. Second of all, and I know that because I'm the one that said it. Second of all, I had a conversation with her after she sent that email, and I asked her, and this is a little unfair having this conversation without her here, but I asked her, and I said, so you're saying that our overlay map is valid? And I said, I find that interesting because a significant number of our neighborhoods, and I listed them, Windsor Woods, the Overlook, Timber Run, McConnell's Trails, are not included on that overlay map. That overlay map is almost 11 years old. And she said, I hadn't realized that. So our ordinance as written may be valid, but our overlay map is not.
So you're missing houses, you're missing buildings, is that what your point is?
Yeah, you're missing a lot of them.
I would make my point if you let me talk. No one's saying that specific ordinance, the overlay map is invalid, it doesn't include anything. It doesn't include everything. But my point is, and I believe the point of Ms. Stonemark is, that just because it's valid doesn't mean that we don't have the ability to make that change. We have the right, we can't dictate how they drill, but we can dictate where they drill. That's our right and our ability per the MPC, per state law.
Again, just because it's valid doesn't mean we have to change it. Say that again?
I said, doesn't mean we can't change it.
Okay.
Now, I disagree, and I've had conversations, and again, this is an unfair conversation without her being here, that our overlay map is not valid. You can't have an overlay map be valid that doesn't include a significant portions of the neighborhoods. And she agreed with me on that. She didn't realize that we hadn't been updating our overlay maps.
I also would just like to say that if the majority of your residents are asking you, telling you they support updating something, why wouldn't you? Mr. Savavik, can I ask you that? Why wouldn't you want to update something if the majority of your residents, almost 70% of your residents who come to a meeting tell you they want to update an ordinance, why would you not want to do it? Or why would you not be willing to even compromise? I guess is my next question.
I also have a little bit of a problem. I stopped reading the email that you just read at our overlay, or at our oil and gas meeting, because at the very top of that, it says attorney-client privileged information.
That's why I was surprised. You can get a copy of my email, right? So you weren't reading the one that I'm sending to Dawn? No?
She sent us a summary that said that.
That's not the summary I was reading from.
So you were reading from a separate email that you had communication?
Correct, and Dawn will have it.
Aren't you the one that repeatedly says that all communication should come through Dawn? That we shouldn't
Absolutely.
directly reach out to our
Absolutely.
solicitors?
I believe I asked permission to speak with her on that topic.
And didn't provide the information to the rest of us?
No, it just, we could follow it up. She'll follow it up. We're waiting for her to come back.
She might not be coming back. Might be here forever.
Okay.
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
I wouldn't either.
We get a discount.
It almost feels, and this is mine, and we'll end it on this, but this feels like you were trying to set up like a gotcha moment. Like you're having communications with our solicitor behind the back of the rest of this board. You're reading partial quotes that I stated.
Don't go there.
That's what it feels like.
No, that you feel wrong, then don't go by your feelings. I just don't want to be attacked. Our job that we do is for the health, safety, and welfare of the residents. And we do that for the whole 29 square miles.
27 square miles.
And we do that for the whole township. So those are part of our decisions. Whether or not there were 75%, 72%, I don't know. I don't know who else took a statistic, how many people were for or against. I just wanted to defend the supervisors and the job that we're doing.
I'm not
I don't think she
discounting
was
the supervisors,
yeah.
and I would not discount the supervisors. I'm just suggesting.
Hold on a second. I don't think that she was attacking us personally. She was just asking us to do our job. She wasn't saying we weren't doing it. How can she say we weren't doing it? We haven't made a decision yet.
I'm just asking you to keep an open mind and to work with everybody and to negotiate and to compromise. I'm not asking, I'm telling you, I would love to never have drilling anywhere in Cecil Township, but I'm realistic. I'm not a lunatic who can stand here and say, let's ban it, because A, it's illegal to ban it from anywhere in the township, and B, it's just not realistic. None of you guys, nobody would vote for that. It would bring no economic value to this township. I get all that. I have a business degree. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to ban an entire industry. I'm just trying to make it better for the people who live here. Not the people who do business here, who live here. Live here.
Thank you.
Kara Sheridan, 58 North DePauli. I just have two short things. One, I would ask in your internal discussions to talk in detail about the concept of an overlay map in general. To me, what you guys do all the time is about zoning. And effectively what overlay maps do is they invalidate the underlying zoning of a district. And they might not be illegal today, but I would say a lot of the townships that I've looked at more recently updated ordinances, overlay maps are generally, from what I understand, not really a very good idea. You shouldn't take something that's zoned in a certain manner and then put another zoning type on top of it, which is making everything underneath it invalid. So I'd say when you talk to the solicitor and you have your internal conversations, I would definitely spend some time on whether or not you even want to do overlay maps. There's other ways to figure out where to put it in the township than using overlay maps. I'd just suggest that. My other thing, and this is officially my third month in a row asking this question. I see Mr. King is not here. We still don't have a schedule on the Range Resources Project published on the township website. There is a PDF there that claims to be a schedule, which is simply a retrospective of what has happened in the past. The last time it was updated, it was the last week of February, talking about the sound walls. We have no idea what's happening this week. We don't know if there were to be any people here this week. We don't know how long installation of sound walls take. The next thing it says after last week is something's not happening until May. So again, I'll ask again for the millionth time, can we please get an idea of when people are going to be up there, what they're going to be doing, because we don't know the comings and goings and what people are doing up there. I'd just like to know if it's expected activity or not. If I see somebody up there and there's not supposed to be anything going on, to me there's cause for alarm there. Like, why are they up there? What is something going on that I should be worried about? Maybe not right at this moment, but definitely in the future, that's going to be something to worry about. So I'd like to have some sort of detail or some sort of schedule be provided, because I really think that what's up there right now is honestly like a joke.
So, yeah, so I just looked really quick. So what's on the website, it does say week 3/1/20 update, sound wall installation, which would be this week, discuss road improvement project status with engineers, and then there is, a significant summary underneath. Is it that you're looking for more detail than sound wall
And
installation?
exactly what's happening this week, but does it say anything about what's happening next week?
No. It
No, or the following week, or any time between now and the beginning of May? Like, I'm just asking for, they have to know. Sound walls take 3 weeks to complete, or sound walls take 1 month to complete. What's the duration of this sound wall installation? Is it going to be done at the end of this week? Is it going to be done tomorrow? I have no idea. What I'm asking for is what I would consider a schedule. When I work and do project management tasks all the time, there's a schedule. This task starts on this day and it's expected. I understand there's variations and things. But we have this is a major operation, but we have 5 bullet points of what's going on. And no detail behind it. No
Sure.
starting and stopping points.
I think we should give them the benefit of the doubt, say on a Thursday, maybe a lot of construction companies have scheduling meetings, and they get their game plan together and then notify the township,
Right.
and then we forward it on our website.
Yeah.
That's what I had a talk with Josh Lee from Range, Jack King, Cindy Fisher, the chairman, and that's what we're to do. You
It
said,
is
Dawn,
up.
it's up on the
I
website?
have it up, it is up.
What they're doing next
I
week
think
is
if I'm
fair.
understanding correctly, because just so that we can relay it to Range, what you're asking for, you're asking for more than 1 week. Like, you set a meeting for 2 weeks from now, like, that's on your schedule. So for more than 1 week look in the future.
Like the sound wall installation, just as an example, that's going on now. It started last week. It's still going on this week. You updated that today to say it's still going on this week. Is it still going to be going on next week? They have an idea of how long these tasks are going to take. You know what I mean? It's like a start and stop for
So why don't we do this? We'll reach out to Range and we will ask for how far in advance. Can they go 2 weeks? Can they go 3 weeks? Can they give us more of a, obviously I understand they're not going to be able to say what happens the second week in April, but can we ask them how far can you
Right.
extend it?
Because to be fair, at the end of whatever it was, February, March, and they said they're not going to be doing anything till May.
Yeah,
That was what we were told.
they did.
And that was it. So I'm just asking for more visibility on what's going on. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If you could hold the microphone just a minute.
Good evening. My name is Patricia Walker, and I live at 1860 Ricing Road. I attended the Gas and Oil Ordinance Workshop at our township office on February 24th. I heard some comments made at the workshop that I needed to think about. I would like, if I may, to address them now. First and foremost, a comment was made by a woman from Scenery Hill that I took umbrage to. She said that there were snickers from leaseholders when people spoke of the health and lives of children. How dare her? All the people who attended that workshop, leaseholders and non-leaseholders alike, are mothers, fathers, grandparents, sisters, and or brothers. And I can assure you, we all highly value the health and welfare of all, especially our children. As a grandmother of a precious, beautiful 4-year-old and a boy who has asthma and has spent 5 days in a pediatric intensive care unit twice in the last 9 months, I was shocked at the callousness of that statement. We all need to be mindful of the things we say, and I cannot sit back and let that statement go on record without a response. She should have been ashamed of herself. Comments were made that only the leaseholders are for the oil and gas industry and that all the leaseholders want is the almighty dollar. For many years, my husband and I did not hold a lease, but I began to notice that area farms were adding new farms and improving on existing ones. New farm machinery was being used out in the fields, improvements were being made to the old farmhouses, and families were able to send their children to college without having to take out yet another mortgage. I often mentioned that even while we had no lease and weren't sure if we ever would, I was glad to see that the old-time farmers and landowners in our area were now, after many years of struggle, able to enjoy a bit more of the fruits of their labors. The people who have leases are not taking the money and running on it, but putting it back into their homes and properties, and yes, our township. Although we do now have a lease, we will never get rich from it, but it will give us peace of mind as we enter into retirement, knowing that we will be able to pay our health care and continue to the maintenance on our homes and properties as these issues arise. It was mentioned that during the last few years, people have been moving into these new Cecil Township plans because it is a beautiful rural community, and that's where they want to raise their children. Close to 40 years ago, when my husband and I were young, and yes, we had 2 young children, very young children, we put every dime we had into a down payment to buy our little ramshackle farmhouse along with a bit of land, because we too wanted to raise our children in this wonderful community with its fantastic school systems, police departments, and emergency system services. At that time, we were told about a southern beltway that was supposed to be going through the area. We did our due diligence and found the maps with the route that the road was supposed to go. It was slated to go in right over the hill from us. We were okay with that and proceeded with our dream. And we have spent the last 37 years raising our family, saving our ramshackle farmhouse, and improving the lands and buildings on our little farm, and being devoted stewards of our little piece of heaven in the township that we have loved living in for many, many years. Over the course of the past 3 years, the road is finally going in, and we have had to contend with shaking homes, miles of detours, eminent domain, dust and more dust, noise from heavy equipment at all hours of the day and night, blasting, and then more blasting, bad roads and road closures, flooding, and the taking to more homes because of the unexpected flooding, homes that were loved and well cared for by their owners for decades, and many, many other unforeseen aspects of what goes into building a major interstate through small town America. All of this being said, I find it hard to believe that with the drilling that has been going on in the rural areas of our southwestern PA area during the last 15 years, none of the people in these plans asked their developers about proposed drilling in rural Cecil Township. That said, the making of the well pad lasts much less time than the making of a road system, that it is all classified as progress. There isn't just one group of people in our township dealing with possible health concerns, shaking homes, and other such issues that are the result of many activities going on all around our area. I'm not against a few reasonable changes to the gas and oil ordinance. A 1,000-foot area would be perfectly fine with me. And I also think that range needs to be on top of every concern that is put to them as the stewards that they want to be of an industry such as this in our township. What I am against is changing the ordinances to the liking of a few and closing off an industry that will benefit all of us. The services and upgrades that will have positive impacts in our township and having range resources here is something that I don't want to put aside. Cecil Township covers a lot of area and has many residents. We are all residents of this township and should treat each other with the respect that we all deserve. The longtime residents of this township are the people who have made the township into the place where the developers want everyone to build a home and should not be cast aside because of the number of houses in the plan. On a final note, I very much appreciate everyone on our supervisory board in Cecil, some of whom have been here for decades, do for our township, and would like to thank you all for taking the time to consider all the residents' contributions to what has made Cecil a place where everyone wants to be. Thank you.
103 Sir James Drive. And I formerly lived in South Fayette Township where they had no oil and gas drilling. And then moved here because we have a disabled son and we wanted everything on one floor. And I thought last week when we had this meeting, this gentleman said, why was there, for the school district, the ordinance was 2,000 feet and 500 feet for residential homes? And nobody could, answer that question. I thought that was a really good question that you brought up, and I'd like you to consider that. I mean, I prefer it to be 3,000 feet away, but if you could consider that, because the kids are home more than they are at school, and then they have summer off, so 2,000 feet. And then the other thing that I didn't like, whether it was Scarmazy or Miranda Homes or Dan Ryan, nobody told us that the Augustinian well was going to be there until after the fact. And I guess legally they didn't have to tell you, but I don't think that's right. I was in sales for 29 years, and that's not being truthful. So at least let them know, by the way, if you're going to buy here, there is a well going to be within 1,000 feet of your home. And so you have an option to say, I either want to be near there or I don't. But there was in Fort Cherry, I don't know the whole situation, but in the school district there, they had to close the school for a while because of the fumes, and then they put air conditioning in there. I don't know what oil and gas company did that, but anyway, it's hard to stop what's already here. But if you could look at the ordinance and say, hey, if 2,000 is reasonable for school, why not for residential property, if not more?
Thank you.
Sure, why not? Yeah, Tim Walker, 1860 Rising Road. My fear is here that I guess maybe what we need to do, if we're not satisfied or concerned about the overlay map, is what we do is put a moratorium on all development within the township until we resolve this. No more housing plans, no more businesses. I mean, how else the overlay map is going to be outdated with any reasonable amount of
There's
time.
no requirement to have an overlay map as part of your oil and gas ordinance.
No, I understand
Township
that,
does.
but what we're saying is we need to change that because houses have been built since the map was initially made, correct?
I'm not trying to be argumentative, but conversely, why wouldn't you stop oil and gas development until the map is? I think that's defeats.
Well,
why
you can't have one without the other. I'm saying if you allow development,
you have
then
development without the oil and gas overlay map being updated. You can't. What you shouldn't have is oil and gas development without the overlay map being updated.
so we have the map. So what you're saying is we should be able to put a gas well wherever the overlay map says.
No, that's not how it works.
Kind of like the chicken or the egg here.
The overlay map sets a standard and kind of a map for it, but ultimately the wording in the ordinance sets the standard. So if the overlay map doesn't show, we'll say Cindy Fisher's house, but my house is 300 feet from where Range wants to put a well pad, even though my house isn't on the overlay map, they can't put it there. Conversely, if my house is 600 feet from the well pad, the wording in the ordinance is 500 feet from residential structure, so they could. So I actually, as a personal preference, don't think overlay maps in a developing township make sense, because unless you're going to commit to update them every couple months or every time a development takes place, they're going to be constantly out of date. So, and you can ask any of the other board members, I've said that before, my preference would be that we write an ordinance that doesn't require an overlay map for that reason.
Okay.
And our overlay map isn't a true traditional overlay map. Like, there are other municipalities that have overlay maps that call out specific areas for drilling. So it's not in the wording, it's in the here's our map and here's where you can drill. Cecil Township's overlay map isn't like that. Cecil Township's overlay map just literally bubbles out all the residential communities Yeah, on there, and that's where I said that would, it doesn't make our ordinance invalid, but it does cause us problems in that part of it isn't accurate, isn't updated.
Well, yeah, and all you have to do is build one house and
Right.
the map is obsolete at that point.
Right, and I don't wanna turn this into a battle
Yeah.
of stop development or do oil and gas. I've said it before, I do really believe that there is a middle ground that we can meet where we
I
can
agree.
continue to develop Cecil Township, but we can also find places for oil and gas development. And I truly believe that, and I've been working towards that. I've been working with our township engineer and various board members to come up with that middle ground. And I hate to say it, but if everybody in the room is frustrated with me, then I did my job, because you that may want it 500 feet, and I'm not saying you do, but just say, for example, you want it 500 feet, but certain people want it 3,000 feet. If I hit that middle where you're not happy, but they're not happy, then I did my job, and I protected everybody, and I found that right here.
I mean, I would hope we wouldn't base our decision on there were 22 people at one meeting and only
No.
10. I mean, this is a township much bigger than, 32 people.
I don't think that that's what the point was.
Well,
I
I'm
think-
just saying,
Point, and I
that
can't-
was the example that was given.
Right, but I don't think that, and I can't speak for her because I'm not her, but I think the message that I got was there was an overwhelming majority of people that asked us not for a ban of oil and gas development, but for protection of their homes and a protection of their investments. To the point that is often made as a leaseholder is you have a right to that money. And I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I'm asking for the same protections, basically.
But I also, on the opposite end of that, believe that a homeowner has a right to protect their investment. So if you have a well pad, a certain number of feet from your home, there is going to be a decrease in the value of your home because of that well pad. So that's where we have to find that balance.
Yeah, I agree.
And honestly, I haven't slept well, if you can't tell the bags in my eyes, for the past 2 months, not because I just could care less about this. I really want to do the research, to put the time in, to get the information to make the right decision for everyone.
Yes.
In all 27 square miles, not just, Cindy Fisher, Ron Fleer, Frank Gizio. We really want that. And I think we'll get that.
I mean, when I hear comments about the gate was open and there were guys up there working and they should have locked it when they went in, and they should open it and lock it back when they go out if there's guys running in and out. I mean, you go to these developments, there's construction material laying around, and I'm sure that you don't require a developer to tell you when he's going to have employees on site, and what they're doing up there every minute of the day.
Right.
I mean, come on. I mean, how much are you paying your guys? What are their hours? Do you want to sign in sign-out sheet? I mean, maybe you should get a job at the guard shack.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, I think that's a little bit unreasonable.
Well, let's not get into attack. We hear what you're saying, we appreciate it. If you have something else, I don't want to get into
No.
attacking other residents.
Well, like I said, I just heard all that was said earlier, and I just felt that I should, comment on some of that, because I think what we're asking for, I mean, they're complying with the ordinances. As far as the schedule goes, I saw the schedule online. It seems to be a reasonable timeline. If they're going to take a forklift on site today or a man lift on site the next day, how much detail do we expect them to provide?
Well, and I'll be honest, I've had this conversation with a representative from Range personally. I think the concern is there's a gentleman up there who homeschools his kids. There are residents out there that work from home. It's distracting when you have certain things, so they can schedule around it. I don't expect, and I said this before, I don't expect Range to put out a plan through the end of May. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask them to go more than 1 week out, because if on Monday morning or Friday, actually I think it came Friday, on Friday it's coming for Monday, that's not a ton of time.
Well, I mean, if you live in a plan that's being developed, currently under development, and you have concrete trucks coming in today, you have carpenters hammering tomorrow, and you have a boom lift truck there the next day, you don't expect that contractor to provide a schedule to all the residents for every move that he makes during that project, do you? That's acceptable because they're building another house. But I'm saying it's the same thing.
It's not though, it's a different scale.
What? It's a construction project.
It's just a different scale.
I mean, they're not drilling. I'm just puzzled by that, how we expect a day-by-day, hour-by-hour blow from Range but yet you go to the, because I rode around up at that plant here the other day, and there's construction work going on daily up there, and I'm sure with all the residents that live in that neighborhood, with cement trucks going up and down the road, and lumber being delivered, and their kids are outside, I'm sure they don't expect the same from the developer, do they? Or does the township require the same from the developer?
We do require plans from the developer. We don't provide those plans to the residents, but I will tell you, as somebody who lived in a neighborhood in Cecil Township while it was being developed, I was one of the first houses in that housing plan, and have been near range while it's a different scale. Somebody working inside or putting up walls in a house isn't the same as 30-foot sound walls or things like that. So I don't want to get into an argument with you.
Yeah,
I really
I'll
don't.
respectfully disagree with that, but like I said, personally, it's a construction site.
That's fine, you have the right to do that. But in the sake of moving on, if you have another point, we're happy.
No, that's all
But
right.
I don't want this,
No, I understand.
Yeah, I don't want this to turn into an argument. Okay.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
If you have a comment that you want to address to the
My
board,
comment
please
is
address
just this to the board. If it was just another construction site, then it needs to go through the land development subdivision plan, like all the other subdivisions go through. If it was just another construction site, then why do you give them a specific list of conditions and then don't follow through when they don't hold them accountable when they don't do it? So if you're gonna give them a specific rule to lock a gate, then they need to lock a gate. That's all I'm saying.
Thanks. Any other comments or questions?
Yes, my name is John Campbell from the Fort Cherry School District.
Wait, do
No,
you live,
I'm
do you
sorry.
live in Cecil Township?
I don't live in Cecil Township. But
Okay,
there was a
if-
comment, hold on a minute. There was a comment made here about Fort Cherry School District.
Well, that's fine, that's what I was gonna say, you can address the comment on
I'm
Fort
gonna
Cherry School
address.
District, but if it's specific to
No.
more than oil and gas, I'm gonna ask you to.
That's what I'm gonna address, because that was false information that gentleman gave on Fort Cherry School District. I live in Fort Cherry School District. The school was not shut down for any reason pertaining to the gas and oil industry. It was not shut down, plus there were air monitors around that school, and the air monitors showed no sign of any disturbance from the oil and gas industry inside or outside the school. So the total information, the air conditioning system was being planned for years to be put into that school. It had nothing to do with the oil and gas industry. So I just wanted to point out that is totally false information from Fort Cherry. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Brett Saber, 32 Farm Press. First off, I wanted to thank the board for hosting that ordinance meeting last week. It was informative for me. I think it was a great discussion from everyone.
Please speak into the mic.
Can you hear me now?
You can hold it, sometimes that works better.
I just wanted to thank you for hosting that meeting. And I guess my follow-up question was from someone who's not educated on the process itself. What can we as residents expect in terms of response from the board? If you make the decision to update the ordinance, will it be posted for a while? Will we be informed
We
of
have
that?
to hold a hearing. There is a public hearing requirement for any changes to the ordinance, and then a period of time that it would need to be posted. At this point, we are waiting for our, as much as we love this gentleman right here, he's done a phenomenal job. We are waiting for our normal solicitor to get back from being away, and then we can kind of move that process forward. But there is a public hearing, public advertisement period for any ordinance changes. Thanks. I really don't, we're happy to hear what you have to say, but I really don't want to get this, have this turn into oil and gas argument.
I'm just, I'm gonna apologize.
That's fine.
Wherever that man is. Right here. Apologize to you. That's what I heard. I should have said, this is what I heard.
Sir,
This
excuse
is
me,
what I
sir.
heard. So I want to apologize.
Excuse me. If you want to have that conversation with him after the
Well,
meeting,
no,
that's
no,
fine.
I
If
just,
you
I
would like
just
to
want to
address the
apologize
board.
to him,
Okay,
because that's what I had heard.
Okay,
And
no
I feel
problem.
bad that I said that
that's no problem.
situation, so I wanted to apologize. to
Then
him,
please,
because I heard
sir,
that.
please have that conversation after the meeting and we will
But
adjourn.
I just don't want to think that I lied, that's what I had heard. And I probably should just say.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. If there's no other questions or comments before the board,
Two Birds Way News. A previous speaker said they don't want stuff in their backyard. I don't want a toxic waste dump on the ABB property in my backyard either. But I see we passed up 2 major grants. I don't know, Cindy, if you're listening to me, you're reading your paper. You listening? Okay. There were 2 major grants that were passed up to clean up this toxic waste dump that's spreading throughout use. But I guess we missed that point. My second point is I noticed a bunch of people that resigned from the Parks and Recreation Board. I don't really know any of these people. But I find it awful peculiar that we have everybody resigning at one point in time. Does anybody know why this happened? Or does anybody care?
That's personal. They didn't have to tell us why I resigned.
How's it personal?
It's their decision to resign.
I understand that, but I would say something probably precipitated that all their resignations at one time.
Possibly.
Is there something that we're hiding that maybe shouldn't?
We're not hiding nothing.
wait, hold on.
You're trying to start trouble. There's
What's
no
that?
trouble. You're trying to start trouble.
No, I'm not trying to start
It's
trouble.
all on the laughing stock.
Wait, no,
I'm tired of that.
stop. Mr. Media, we were provided letters of resignation, this board, for each board member that resigned. Out of respect for those board members, those letters of resignation will remain private. It's between this board and those board members that resigned. If you want to reach out to those board members and see if they'll give you information, that's fine. Otherwise, that part of that conversation is over.
Do you have addresses to these people? Because I'd like to call everybody individually.
I'm not handing out addresses and phone numbers, no.
Okay, because I'm kind of suspecting that there's a problem with maybe one or more individuals on this board that's initiating acts like this. And what I'm saying is if that's the way things are, that's probably
I'm
just...
going to ask you to stop.
No, I'm not going to stop.
You are
If
going to
that's
stop.
the, no, I'm not. If that's the way things are,
I'm going to ask you.
I'm saying that this is just going to be the tip of the iceberg as far as things go.
And I'm going to ask you to sit down one more time.
Listen, you don't run this township, so don't tell me what to do.
With that, we'll call this meeting adjourned.